existing inlet
From the inlet to the outlet.
and the distribution out to the stream. Page 2 sort of ties into that: location, type, and size of all existing proposed catch basins, storm drain structures, facilities, water courses, and ditches. There are no catch basins, again, within the frontage of what we surveyed, and no water courses, and no storm drainage structures or ditches. But since we're providing additional information on
Yeah, we're looking for the drainage route, taking it down to the stream. If it's overland, you know, it doesn't certain type, it could be the swales, it could be on the pavement.
Page 6, storm drainage calculations in accordance with the Holmdel Development Design Manual. Refer back to the stormwater management waiver, and no stormwater management proposed.
Again, if you provide the items in H1 to H2, that would be correct.
Page 7, location, profiles, and cross-sections of all water cross courses and drainage facilities within 300 feet of limits of the development with close flood hazards. That ties back to A23. I'm not sure you're literally wanting cross-sections and profiles of a ditch that we would find, for example, between.
Well, if you give us a map showing the location of these ditches and the water courses, yeah, we can waive the cross-section.
Just to compare, again, that's in 23.
Right. Sort of A23, yes. Under signs, I1, location, size, color, wording.
You're in compliance.
Letter size, wording.
Sorry, right,
J2.
What place?
Is in compliance.
Compliance?
J2, energy savings and cost reduction analysis. I looked at section 30, 116, 23B, 1, 2, and 3. And they don't seem to apply to our site. It talks about it, and I'll read it. All applications for non-residential development shall include certification from a licensed professional engineer stating that the uses comply with the relevant air quality standards, etc. And then 1, 2, and 3 as referred to in the checklist, prior to preliminary approval of any subdivision of 10 lots or more. That's how that paragraph starts out, so that includes us. Second item, prior to approval of any site plan or development of an office use consisting of 20,000 square feet or more, also precludes us. And then the third one, prior to preliminary approval of any site plan for development of non-residential use consisting of 20,000 square feet or more, which I believe all three exclude 30-160.
Just to add though to that, I mean, B itself does reference that all applications for non-residential development shall include a certification from a licensed professional engineer stating that such uses comply with the relevant air quality standards. And we will be providing an air quality report by an expert to address that. So it's just the subsections. I'm not sure if that might have been what Mr. Poussis was referring to, but I know it's just, you know.
Yeah, I'm just referring to, again, I believe that section is applicable because there are office buildings on the site. This is part of the site. I'm not separating it. I'm just concerned the energy efficiency of the motors that they're proposing to make sure that they are energy efficient. So a simple statement, there's some certifications covering that would probably suffice.
So just that the, in terms of the heater is?
The motors, yes.
The motors. Again, I'm just going to put it on the record. Those sections that are referenced in the checklist requirement clearly don't apply in terms of any energy cost savings, but presuming that I have an expert that understands what Mr. Poussis is referring to, then we'll supply that. But
Okay, the next one, J9, letter of interpretation from NJNG. Crest submitted what's called a cursory wetlands report, which indicates that there are no wetlands or wetland buffers that impact the work area, within 150 feet of our work area. So our environmental department visited the site, they looked at the area, did some soil logs, as I mentioned, looked at the hydrology, looked at the soil type and vegetation, which are the standard parameters used to determine wetlands, and was able to determine that there were no wetlands actually in the work area and no wetlands or buffers that would affect our work area. So we think we've addressed that, and we prefer not to have to go farther than that, and it's really a board decision, of course, or as recommended.
Well, you haven't addressed that. The checklist item is specific, required a letter of interpretation of DEP. You've provided us with your opinion, which we necessarily may agree with, but we need the DEP to verify this because they're the authority on wetlands.
In terms of LOI, what type of LOI are you looking for in particular?
It would probably be well, assuming that there is no wetlands, there would probably be a letter of absence.
And
But that's up to DEP to decide, not me.
We, if I may, we would probably make application for what's called a limit of disturbance LOI, and I'll explain the difference. An absence LOI would suggest that we have to study the entire 16.5 acre property, and we report on that, and our opinion being to DEP, if that was the case, that there were no wetlands. If we do a limited disturbance, we're addressing the area of work, which has already been supported by our own opinion that there are no wetlands in that area. And that
We're familiar with the limited disturbance,
Okay, that
and
would be-
we would accept that.
also, Mr. Plousas, given that I think, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong, both you and Mr. Antilli are on the same page in terms of your assessment based upon observation and investigation at the site that there's no wetlands on the site, we would ask that be made, this issue be made a condition of approval, rather than a completeness or provided any earlier than that, because I'm just concerned that this, from a timing perspective, it could really extend things. So would that be agreeable that we make that as a condition of approval?
Well, that decision is up to the board. It's a checklist item, and I'm only reporting it to the board as a checklist item.
How long do we think it will take to get the letter?
2 to 3 months.
I don't know, hold this to the end, let's finish, and then we'll talk about it.
Okay, the next item is K3. And
You've located the trees that you
Yes.
showed them. All we're looking for is a tabulation on the plan, like it's indicated in K3.
everything was mentioned was located on the plans. We'll make a tabulation.
Which item was that?
K3.
And K4 goes together with K3.
K4, let's, I don't think I saw that on your letter. Is that something new?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's marked provided. It's okay. The first item we just talked about, it is not K3.
That's provided.
Yeah, that's provided. It should be, no, that's my item. K3 was not provided.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So we would like to see that.
And just so I'm clear, Mr. Plousas, that again is the tabulation you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. And I think we're here.
K6 is also similar. You put on the plans the total diameters of what's being removed and what's being saved.
So that's another item, K6, you want us to address
Yes.
outside of your letter?
No, it's in the letter.
Oh, I didn't see it. You have to show me. I missed K6 in your letter.
Oh, okay. You're right. Sorry, it's not in the letter, but it's on the checklist.
Okay, so, and I'm sorry to make you repeat yourself. It's just that between all the lettering and numbering, and what is it from K6 that you're asking for?
Hold on, let me just check the letter. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. It's just K3. K6 is fine.
Okay, thank you.
And then E1D, which requires a sheet index with a revision number and revision date. We provided revision dates on each sheet. We'll provide the sheet index with the revision number next to it, so you don't have to go to each sheet and find out the revision.
But was that what Mr. Pousis was looking for?
Yes.
Just checking. Sorry, just give me a minute. I think that's all we have on. Yeah, I thought you were talking, so
That's right.
I think that was it.
I'm trying to
We're trying to
Gauge
figure anything
things.
else, but
figure
we
some
think we're done.
stuff out.
Greg, we're done on your list?
Yes, we've gone through it.
So, how much time do you need, holding the LOI in the base, how much time do you need to do everything else? So, for everything else, will you be ready for the next scheduled date, is that your May 2nd? May 2nd, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm hearing is 30 to 45 days, but I'm gonna make a request that we be permitted to proceed with substantive review of this matter. At the same time, we'll be working on getting these checklist items to you. Again, I'll look for the board attorney's view on this, but a completeness determination is not a jurisdictional prerequisite to proceeding on a substantive review, even a board action for that matter. So I'm going to make that request because I'll be honest with you, I don't have someone here that can tell me how long is it going to take to do what you had requested per a fiscal impact statement. So I can't even make that kind of assessment. I can understand from Mr. Antilli what might be required with regard to the remaining issues. So I'm just going to make that request. Can I proceed on my substantive review, particularly given the amount of time that it's taken us to get here? And then, during that process, we will be submitting these items. And certainly, if anything else arises from that, we can have, testimony on those issues. What I suspect is most of these things aren't going to impact the board's decision one way or the other, but the board will have opportunity to review those things. It's just, this puts us in a very, very challenging position.
But I think in fairness to the board, they can make their own decision, obviously. That's what you were looking for my 2 cents. They're going to need to see some of this stuff and have their new experts, let's call them, review it. Now, they're willing to work, I think they're willing to work with you and not demand everything and have then their experts have their own report before we start. But I think they do want to have some of the basic things in hand before you start, have a chance to at least retain experts before you start, so at least people can be here to hear the testimony as they're preparing their own reports. So to start tonight would be really probably unfair to the professionals they're looking to hire, to be honest with you.
And I don't want to piecemeal stuff, so, again, so Dimitri and I may have the advantage of having heard all of this testimony once before, which is obviously complicated testimony and, gas engineering testimony, but I want to have everything that everybody needs to consider before we get started, maybe with the exception of the LOI from the EP, because I don't want to, if it's going to take 3 months, I don't want to tell you have to wait 3 months to come back. I think that's unfair.
Well, can I though, just so, because I'm trying to get some clarity here, are you suggesting though that your experts need to be hired and produce reports before I'm deemed complete, or you just, I'm trying to
No, we said
understand.
the opposite. They at least want to have them retained and be part, here in the audience, to be part of, hear the testimony.
Yes.
That's
They're not going to have their reports as you may, as
I'm-
you may
I'm-
not.
I'll tell you right, I mean-
Yeah, so.
No,
That's not even, I'll tell you what I am intending on doing. What I was first planning on doing is having someone from NJNG, who just 2 of the board members will remember from 2016 on operations and the need. Then I would just have Mike on and my landscape architect, but
Right, we
the
wanna-
sound and air quality are gonna have to be, I'm assuming are gonna have to be another night. So just so I'm clear, because what you're really saying is you wanna just hire someone to have them present,
Yes.
because it isn't a completeness issue. You know, I mean, I know you know that in terms of you hiring your experts. This application has been active since January, just so we could move forward.
Since you're not complete today anyway, right, since you're not complete, then I would like to take this opportunity to hire our experts so that they can be present and hear the testimony line. If you were otherwise complete and we were then going to delay you to that, maybe that would factor into the decision. But since it's not complete anyway, I'd rather not get started until we have our experts hired and present. And then if you're still missing items at that point, maybe we can bring some, pull some items at a day and pending some of those items, certainly pending the LOI.
I know as of now, and I'm hoping this is still the case, that we were penciled in for May 2nd,
You
so,
are correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that true, Laverne?
Yes, yes.
so,
And you're the only
so,
one on that?
Yes, they are.
so then we would be in a position at that point that I don't, from what Mike's telling me, I know he said, giving me the eyeball, well, it's 30 days, there's a lot of stuff to do. Would we be in a position, because that will afford you time to hire someone, where we can present our first 3 witnesses? I'm not going to be presenting any reports with those witnesses, because as I just told you, it's, I have a witness from NJNG who I'm not going to be qualifying, Mr. Antilli and Mr. Wiener, who just did the landscape architecture. So at that point, I would just be presenting those 3 witnesses. That allows you 3 weeks. And then I'm just trying to figure out a way to put that.
Who else is left after, what are the witnesses you intend to call after those?
Well, now, the revelation in terms of, I'm going to obviously be calling other witnesses based upon what you're going to be doing. I am, as of now, I am definitely going to have an expert on air quality and sound. With the way I want to lay things out, he would not then be, unless we could do it, but I want the board to have that report in advance. I know it's important to them, we certainly would do that. I would anticipate that he might be after May 2nd, depending on where we go. But obviously, I know I need to submit that in advance, because you have to have an opportunity to review it. And if the board is going to be hiring an expert in that regard, then they would have to have an opportunity to review it as well.
My only concern is, Mary Ann, Greg, do you think that we'll be able to identify and hire the experts when we find before May 2nd? That is possible. I mean, we're going to make absolute best efforts to do that.
I just know you guys have it with your schedule, and what happens in July and August, your one hearing nights,
Right.
and
Listen, we've saved May 2nd for you. It that would now be a wasted date. I don't want that to happen. Our schedule is too tight, so I want to do everything we can to get you on for May 2nd. But I also want to make sure we have our experts. And since I'm not in the habit of hiring gas engineers, or I don't know how long it's going to take us to find someone who's not conflicted out, who's around that doesn't already work for the gas company. So
I'm trying to make lemonade out of lemons.
we're going to try to get you for our experts to be here and be ready for May 2nd, and I assume that you'll do the same thing on your end.
Right, well, again, I'm just laying out who I'm anticipating putting on first. Again, it's just someone from New Jersey Natural Gas Company, Craig Sanders, who I think.
I see this.
But the other two people, you're not going to be hiring other experts for. It's a landscape architect and Mr. Antilli, and you already
No, but I
have.
still like our experts to be able to hear all of your testimony, and that would be my goal. Because I don't know what's going to factor in their decision.
What other experts are you talking about? Your gas person?
us.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if there are any other experts, but at this point, I think the thought is an environmental engineer. And not someone who's going to give us some kind of economic impact study to determine what effect the regulator station will have on surrounding businesses and properties. And a gas engineer who can determine if the testimony we're getting from New Jersey Natural Gas is accurate. In other words, the need for the regulator station placement, etc.
Okay, I'm going to request we go forward on May 2nd. I understand the board doesn't want to go forward tonight. We're ready to go. It's your decision.
Yeah, if we had to, much as I don't want special meetings, just like we just added one for next week, if we had to do it, then obviously we have to clear another date and add a special meeting.
Okay.
It is my intention to stay on schedule though, and to be ready for May 2nd, so I think everyone involved is doing the best that they can be able to do that.
Okay. And so at that time, assuming you have your experts in place, we would be able to proceed, notwithstanding, let's say I don't know, a soil boring analysis done. And at that point, if I don't have all of my checklist items in place on May 2nd, would the board be willing to allow us to proceed with that
I think
substantive
unless we know
component?
what we're missing, it's hard to give you an answer on that.
Okay.
I think I've already, again, I haven't consulted anybody else, but I think as far as the board's concerned, if it's only, and I'm actually gonna ask Greg, like, if it's just the LOI we're waiting on, that would certainly be an item, I guess we could agree to hold in abeyance until like.
Yeah, but there's another 8 or 10 items
Yeah,
that you
so I
just agreed
think
to
that without
provide.
saying what's
Yeah,
received and what's missing, so in other words, if you have everything but that, then I would say yes, I would think that we'll be able to proceed.
But she's saying if something else is missing, we're going to let her,
I don't know until I know what's missing.
yeah, but whatever it is, I don't think we should let her proceed unless all those items are complete.
Okay, then you would vote, then
That's
right,
my
well, that would be
opinion.
your
I
vote.
don't know the rest of the
No.
board feels.
So maybe that would be a no vote on the completeness.
Okay.
From Mr. O'Connor, I don't know, but what I'd say is I can't tell you my own personal opinion without knowing what you're.
What it is. I mean, I don't want to go through everything now again, but I suspect any of those items
You
are
have a
just.
little bit of knowing, you blocked it out, you know, from 2 years ago, what our concerns were then, you know, so.
I do.
The economic impact on the surrounding homes is a huge concern for me personally.
No, I understand all that. I'm just trying to make up because this matter has been pending for 3 months, so I'm trying to, I did it.
I understand.
Yeah, I'm trying to like
It's
make
hard to get on
things,
we're
to
a
address your
popular-
concerns,
we're
but
a
also.
popular board, and it is hard to get on our now.
Well, no, it's not that. It's that the review letter that we received yesterday was just contrary to what we've received all along. So it just puts us in a really precarious position in terms of timing. We operated under the assumption that we would come here and you guys would say, you guys all okay? Do you agree? You agree? And last time we got a
I
different.
suggest something, if you agree, Nancy. I mean, at least a week before May 2nd, let Mr. Plusis know what you have and what you don't have.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest.
And if, based on what he then recommends to the board, you know, we can at least, I mean, if you don't have enough, then we're not going to go forward. We don't have to have all your professionals show up on May 2nd. We can just tell you right now, we'll carry to whether they want to do a special meeting or whatever they do. And we don't have to have all your people here just to hear what is here and you're hearing tonight if it's going to be carried. So let him know a week ahead of time at least, and, we can probably get a good, give you a good idea of where we're gonna be at that point.
And
Okay.
if we've got our experts in place.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, I know
Yeah,
that's, I understand that
We'll do,
concern.
we'll do that, tell them to do that as well.
I also have June 13th open right now
Okay.
as well.
So, I don't know, maybe you want to go ahead, since we know we're not going to be finished on May 2nd regardless, right? You're not going to.
Can I have both? Can I have both? June, the
That's
May
what she said.
2nd?
That's what she said.
Okay.
So we might as well pencil it in for June 13th, because I don't figure even in the best case scenario that you're going to be finished with May 2nd alone. And we're still going to need another date, right? I don't know if it'll be too soon, but I imagine we'll need a date for our experts to give their opinions and give testimony. And, it's my intention to give full voice to the community who wants to speak at some point, during the hearing. So I would imagine there's absolutely going to be at least 2 days,
And
maybe longer. And the rest of the board hasn't had the opportunity to have a site visit, so I don't know if that's something. Sorry, if you look at Nancy.
it doesn't matter, we should not always compare us to what we know. So,
No, I just,
We need to have a site visit, period.
The rest of the board needs to see the site, so they're gonna, in all likelihood, I think that we might end up voting for a site visit as well.
you mean, my only concern with doing that is that it does create an issue. I know the last time it was an issue with, how are we handling this? Are you treating that as, is it a public hearing?
Public with no comment from the public.
Uh,
The public can be
which-
there, but there's no comments taken.
Right, there's no comments taken. It's a
Or
very
ask questions of
challenging.
your professionals if they have it.
Right, it's a very challenging thing to do. I don't know if it's a regularity with you, or if it was just this particular
We have other
application.
site visits.
We do
so-
site
Yeah,
visits.
it creates a procedural issue for me. I'm concerned, but if the board feels like that's something absolutely necessary, let me just finish, is, here, I wouldn't have expected that, because there I did understand that was a concern in terms of the distance to the right-of-way, but we're 200 feet off the right-of-way, and
Well, we're jumping ahead. They don't know if
Yeah.
you're going to require.
I don't know.
Okay. I'm just expressing my concern. It has nothing to do, it's the procedural component.
Noted.
Notice how it's treated. What if one of you doesn't show up at that? Then do we have a quorum? I mean, it is quite, it's an issue. So I can certainly talk to Mr. Flager about
Nancy,
it.
we've done these in many years since I've been on the board, so we're gonna do it somehow or another.
I don't see why we need a quorum, we're not taking any testimony.
So it's not a public
No,
hearing?
matter of fact, I don't even go, and the ones I've been involved with on this board, the attorneys don't even go, so.
So it's not a public hearing then?
It's just notice.
It's show and tell.
And the public.
Well, I'm going to wait to see if the board actually needs that. I hear
I
from,
don't know that we are or not. I'm trying to give you an idea of what we might need, so that we don't have any surprises for you going forward. That's all. I'm trying to be fair.
no, and I understand that. Okay. I just suggest that maybe to have a review of the plans and see in this instance if you think it's really necessary, but I hear what you're saying.
I think it's hard in an application like this without a site visit to really understand.
We have an office building that's nearby, we want to see the proximity, we want to see where berms and fences and all that are going to be up. Looking at a piece of paper is not the same as being there. So, I personally feel strongly about it. I don't know about the rest of the board, but to me, it's part of this application.
Well, since we're talking about a site visit, I mean, I know it's a decision down the road, but are you also suggesting it's the kind of site visit where we are preparing the entire site like we did the last time?
Yep, flags showing us where fences are, berms, and all that kind of thing, absolutely. We're not just gonna go look and say, that's where it's going over there. Same thing. Since you referenced the past, yes.
Well, I think us being able to see the height of the stacks and the location, so that we can gauge the proximity to everything else around it is important.
How far is it really from the road? How kind of berming? What kind of, shrubbery is going to be there? All of that's all part of the decision.
Okay, I mean, is this something?
We're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, no, I'm also thinking in the back of my mind, again, timing, so I'm wondering when
They
this.
would fit that in between
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Okay.
not,
that's
gonna-
not
that's
on
not
the
gonna
email.
delay anything.
Okay,
That's on a Saturday or some night after work or something like that. Let's figure that out.
And it gives an opportunity for the rest of the board to give it some thought as to whether it's something they want. Obviously, Orthanopoulos has certainly indicated, I think, that that's something he wants. So if it's something everybody wants, maybe it's something we can fit in between the May 2nd and the June 13th.
okay. So I think what we're gonna do is contact Mr. Plusas a week before May 2nd, and someone will let us know about your situation on experts. And see, I'll be ready to present witnesses then if the board's inclined to allow us to proceed at that point.
Has to be a vote on completeness. We'll have a vote on complete, and then we'll have an announcement that the hearing will be carried without further notice to May 2nd.
So someone needs to make a motion.
I make the motion that the application is incomplete.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
So now, let's just be clear. If we vote yes, then we are agreeing with the motion and it is incomplete.
That's correct.
Okay.
Mr. Hearn?
Yes.
Mr. LaCresti?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mr. Nancy?
Yes.
Mr. Orthanopoulos?
Yes.
Mrs. Adams?
Yes.
And Mr. Briamonte?
Yes. Okay, I need to carry it.
Right, and so it'll be carried to members of the public, it'll be carried to May 2nd, 7 o'clock, no further notice.
No written notice to everybody.
Will there be public comment then, or we don't know yet?
Not today.
I mean, next week, or we don't, next time?
If there's a hearing, there's time.
Okay.
There'll be
So-
public comment at some point during this hearing.
Right, so,
Okay.
so I might as well just really briefly just lay it out. So what the intention to do this time is to let New Jersey Natural Gas put on those 3 witnesses, and because they overlap so much, it's too truncated to keep stopping. They'll put on their 3 witnesses, and then absolutely will allow public questions at that point, right? Just like always. And then at the conclusion of everything, ultimately, there'll be actual comment. But the public will be able to ask questions after the 3 witnesses have finished testifying. All 3 witnesses, so if it doesn't finish one day for some reason, all 3 witnesses would then be back for the next date for public questions. I guess in Loretta, then what we need to do is get estimates for what the experts are going to cost, so that we're certain there's enough money in the escrow to cover the cost of the experts. Is that right?
You give recommendations for, okay.
So you'll post something on the township website about this, so the public knows when the continuing hearing will be on this
Yes.
matter. Okay, this agenda item is finished.
Next item.
Moving on.
I know we've already taken a vote on the fiscal, Mike would just raise something with me on the fiscal impact study. I know all I have here is demand on municipal services and and the other financial impact, you mean, will include real estate values in the area. Is that what we're talking about? I just want to make sure.
And effect on business, financial, businesses and real estate.
Mary, you
Right,
want to
but-
read that again, or question? So maybe.
Thank you, Mary Ann. I was just asking for a little more clarification on the fiscal report, and what I have in my notes is that, anticipated demand on municipal services, and then the checklist item says other financial impact, which the board is requesting, that include real estate values, and their impact, the impact on residential real estate values and businesses.
That is, it doesn't exactly say that, but it will not hurt to have that kind of detail, even though sometimes financial impact is not always acceptable. However, that kind of overall information, it seems to be what's listed in the standards for approval for a conditional use.
Okay, well, that's what we'll
So
focus
that's
on. I
what-
just didn't want it, because it was amorphous we're talking about, and I'm not an economist.
So I think you should include both.
Okay, on residences and businesses.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And business also, it means agricultural business too. Agricultural. For
Okay.
example, there's a winery across the street.
No, I'm aware of that.
Okay.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Memorializing resolutions, item number 7. Gregory Napick, 7 South Beer Street, Block 30, Lot 18, in the R40A zone, zoning board number 407. Applicant granted a certificate of pre-existing non-conforming use to allow them to renovate a second residential dwelling on the property. The structure was built in 1956.
Just to the right of the, just to the right.
So that's those people, right? So this was circulated probably a couple months ago. So less than, we need to pressure.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to speak, I have to step outside and speak.
So Loretta, we have, there's only some of the members are eligible.
Yes,
right? So we're not for that.
Valerie, Lou, Dimitri, Bill, Don, and Chris.
Well, I voted no.
I voted no for that.
I'm absent.
That's the little house. Right?
Yeah.
I voted no for that.
Yeah.
I voted no.
Yeah, I think maybe Anthony. I was here.
Did you vote yes?
Yeah. Okay. Chris was yes, and whoever else was here.
All right, so now we can,
Who else voted no for it?
I was here.
just look around here.
I wasn't here.
Yeah, there were four yes.
I think I voted yes, upon conditional use.
Dimitri was the last vote.
I think you voted yes.
No.
I voted yes on
You voted, I know you voted yes.
You voted to allow these, right? to get a non-
Yes.
You all voted yes.
So there you go.
So
So
we
there's your
should-
four right there.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So
We
it's
need one.
Yeah.
Lou, Bill, Don, and Chris.
Okay. So those are those to vote.
So you need a motion to accept the
Yes.
Yeah.
motion.
Motion, Chris. Second, Don. Okay, Mr. LaCrassi.
Yes.
Mr. Nemzik.
Yes.
Mr. Byrne.
Yes.
And Mr. Fremont.
Item number 8, Mark Delfino, 55 Hawthorne Avenue, zoning board variance number 410, block 58.01, lot 27 in the R-TH zone. Applicant granted variance relief to build additional square footage of new living space over an existing garage and an existing family room. The floor area ratio, the FAR, is presently at 20% permitted, with additional living space added. The FAR will be increased to 26.28%.
Everybody but Val, you were absent.
And this was, two conditions were, I'm only bringing it up because one was supposed to ask Dave. So one was he had to move the shed, one put inside the line, because it was actually over the line. Do you remember this?
Yes, that was part of the shed.
And he was going to contact Dave to have him go out before and after he moved it. I'm not sure if he moved it yet, but he was supposed to contact you.
I've done it before, he hasn't moved yet, so I haven't done
I thought we gave him 90 days. didn't
No,
we?
there's no time limit on it.
No?
He just has to do it before he relocates.
Right.
Once he relocates, he's got to let Dave know before.
Okay.
But we haven't even done the resolution yet, so, and it was winter, you may not have.
I don't think he's moved yet.
Yeah. So I just wanted to confirm that he has actually comply with one step.
Yes, I've been out there and seen where it is currently, and he says he will move it.
Need a motion?
Motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second the motion.
Mr. Herron.
Yes.
Mr. LaPresti.
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli.
Yes.
Mr. Nancy.
Yes.
Mr. Urbanitopoulos.
Yes.
And Mr. Griamonte.
Yes.
Item number 7, Ning Wang and Yang Zhang, 10 Hickory Hills Court, Zoning Board variance number 411, block 30.06, lot 3 in the R40A zone. Applicant granted variance relief to allow the back patio to remain in its existing location. The patio existed at the time when the home purchase, of the time of the home purchase, and encroaches 10 feet over the setback line.
And I was still away.
This one, again, the only main special condition was if they ever relocate the pool or have a major repair, that they will comply with the setback. It's sort of the patio.
Who voted on this one?
Everybody but Valerie is eligible.
I'll make a motion
I was on the beach in Del Rey.
Okay.
to grant the,
Okay, and second to that?
I'll second it.
Mr. Herron.
Yes.
Mr. LaPresti.
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli.
yes.
Mr. Nemsick.
Yes.
Mr. Urbanitopoulos.
Yes.
And Mr. Griamonte.
Yes.
Anything else? Motion adjourned?
Do you want to discuss other consultants?
Madam Chairwoman?
Yes.
Do we want to do that on the record? No, I think we could do it, we can adjourn first.
Madam Chairwoman, if I may?
No.
I'm only here for one reason.
Motion to adjourn?
Well, I want it
Yes,
on-
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
If you mind, I'd like it on the record,
All right.
and that doesn't
All right,
happen
all right,
if you
there's
do it
there's
adjourned.
nothing to be on the record for the public.
There's
so
no
they
public
can't
comment at
hear
a
it.
zoning board hearing.
Well,
Okay.
I'm off, I'm not on the notification list, it's an irregularity. I'm here to get it cleared up. Now, you either want to do it or you don't.